The crimson sun bled through the volcanic smog, painting the jagged peaks of Xylos in hues of fire and ash. The air hung thick with sulfurous fumes, a constant reminder of the planet's volatile nature. Eli Vance, a human engineer with eyes etched with the weariness of countless missions, stared out at the desolate landscape. Xylos, a remote colony world within the fragile galactic coalition, was a test of humanity's patience, and a test Eli felt he hadn't passed. His past mistakes, the lives he'd failed to save, weighed on him like the suffocating dust. His assignment on Xylos was meant to be peacekeeping, but the whispers of mistrust and resource competition echoed through the colony, as threatening as the rumbling tremors beneath the ground. The native species, the fireborn Xylan, with their molten-veined skin that glowed faintly beneath their dark scales and bioluminescent markings, lived in a symbiotic dance with the ever-present volcanic activity. Yet their connection to the planet was a source of suspicion to the human colonists. The humans, driven by ambition and pragmatism, saw Xylos as a resource to be exploited, not a living entity to be respected. Xerati, a Xylan warrior, watched from the shadowed crevice of a lava-cooled cliff face. Her molten skin, a living tapestry of shifting colors, shifted with the subtle tremors in the earth. She held herself with an air of quiet strength, her movements as fluid and precise as the flowing lava that carved the landscape around her. Xerati was a diplomat, trained to bridge gaps and find common ground, but the human presence felt predatory. The humans, in their arrogance, failed to understand the deep connection between the Xylan and their homeworld, a connection that was as fundamental as the fire itself. The past had marred both cultures, and Eli could sense the ancient mistrust between them. It was a silent war, fought not with weapons, but with unspoken words and half-understood gestures. Xerati, though she was a skilled diplomat, felt the weight of a history of misunderstanding that threatened to engulf them all. Chapter 2: The Unseen Tremors. A tremor, barely perceptible at first, rattled the human outpost, sending a wave of anxiety through the few remaining colonists. The ground groaned, a low, guttural rumble that seemed to vibrate through Eli's very bones. The air crackled with unseen energy, a prelude to something far more significant. Eli, his senses sharpened by years spent on volatile worlds, felt the shift in the seismic readings. This wasn't just a routine tremor, this was a harbinger of something much larger. He knew the risk, the cost of inaction. He knew the fate of countless lives hung in the balance, not just human, but Xylan too. Inside the command center, alarms blared, flashing red warnings across the control panels. The visual displays flickered, showing alarming increases in volcanic activity, maps distorted with jagged lines of heat and pressure. The air, thick with the smell of sulfur and fear, felt alive with the anticipation of catastrophe. Every passing second stretched into an eternity, punctuated by the rhythmic, growing thrum of the earth beneath their feet. He knew if this eruption was as large as the preliminary readings suggested, it could destroy the entire outpost. Outside, the ground began to shake violently. The once dormant volcano, a jagged scar against the sky, roared to life. A fiery column of molten rock and ash erupted, instantly engulfing the sky in a cloud of incandescent destruction. The air turned toxic, choking the remaining colonists, and the ground violently spewed hot ash and noxious gas. The previously vibrant, if remote, world of Xylos had transformed into a spectacle of destruction, a maelstrom of fire and chaos. The outpost, a beacon of human civilization, appeared to be on the verge of complete destruction. Eli, despite the chaos, kept his focus. He needed to assess the damage and determine where the people were. He raced outside, his boots crunching on shattered rock and cinders. The air, thick with the smell of sulfur and fear, felt alive with the anticipation of catastrophe. The earth continued to shudder, threatening to swallow everything whole. A panicked cry, a woman's desperate scream, cut through the roar of the volcano. Eli's heart hammered against his ribs. He knew, with a chilling certainty, that somewhere within this inferno, Xerati was trapped. Chapter 3: A Fiery Descent. The pyroclastic flows roared down the mountainside, a torrent of incandescent destruction. Rivers of molten rock, hotter than any forge, carved pathways through the landscape, consuming everything in their path. Eli, without hesitation, raced into the inferno, his body burning and his helmet's visor clouded with ash. The air, a mixture of searing heat and choking gases, was a gauntlet, a test of both his physical and mental fortitude. His thoughts were a chaotic jumble of survival instincts and the desperate image of Zerati. He fought against the searing heat and the choking gases, his engineer's instincts taking over, his mind focused on the singular image of the Xylan warrior. He had to find her. This wasn't just about rescuing a life, it was about rekindling a spark of trust in a world fractured by distrust and fear. The landscape was a landscape of despair and destruction. Buildings crumbled and twisted in the heat, their structures reduced to smoldering ruins. The air, thick with the smell of burning flesh and volcanic rock, tasted metallic and acrid. Eli pushed through, his movements a blur of desperate agility, his hands gripping the jagged, molten-hot rocks. He moved instinctively, guided by a primal need to survive and save. He had to find her. This wasn't just about rescuing a life, it was about rekindling a spark of trust in a world fractured by distrust and fear. Time seemed to slow as he scrambled, his mind focused only on the collapsing rock formation that concealed her. He felt Zerati's presence, a surge of warmth in the icy grip of fear, a beacon in the suffocating darkness. He could feel her trapped, and with each passing moment, his fear intensified. The air grew denser with debris and ash, and his vision grew increasingly blurry. He pushed through the debris, his hands scraping against charred metal and pulverized rock. The ground trembled with every step he took. With renewed determination, he felt his way through the wreckage, guided by an unwavering will and the faintest of bioluminescent markings, traces of Zerati's unique identity. He found her, battered and bruised, trapped beneath a collapsing rock formation. Zerati, her molten skin shimmering with a dangerous heat, lay still, but her eyes were open, wide, and reflecting the terror of her situation. Her body quivered with the lingering aftershocks of the eruption, and the air around her crackled with the lingering energy of the event. A surge of adrenaline fueled his desperate struggle. He needed to get her out of there. Chapter 4: The Cold Gaze. Zerati, though grateful, held her gaze on Eli with a glacial distance. Her molten skin, usually shifting with the subtle tremors of the planet, now remained unmoving, like polished obsidian. She didn't react with the emotional response Eli had expected, the warmth of gratitude or relief. Instead, her eyes, the color of a storm-tossed sea, held a profound distrust, a history of conflict etched into their depths. Eli's heart sank. He'd risked his life, fought against the inferno, and yet, she viewed him as an intruder, a threat to her people. The deep distrust between humans and Xylan burned bright, an ancient fire that refused to be extinguished. He understood that this was more than a rescue. He had to overcome not only the immediate danger but also the deep-seated prejudices that plague both species. You risked your life for me," Zerati finally said, her voice a low rumble that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken words. Her tone was neutral, almost clinical, but Eli sensed the profound gratitude trapped beneath the icy exterior. Eli, caught in the tangled web of cultural misunderstandings, hesitated. I saw you were trapped," he stammered, the words feeling inadequate in the face of such profound distrust. The language barrier, though momentarily overcome, remained a formidable hurdle. How could he bridge the chasm of unspoken history? Zerati's culture, deeply connected to the Earth, viewed humans with a lingering suspicion, a result of past conflicts, misunderstood treaties, and exploited resources. "Your survival, your actions, mean little to my people," Zerati continued, her voice laced with a sorrow that echoed the destruction of the surrounding landscape. "You don't even understand what my survival means to my people, to our way of life." She gestured around the debris-strewn landscape, a silent testament to the destruction wrought by the eruption. "Our survival is intertwined with Xylos, with this land, with this fire. You are outsiders." Eli felt a pang of despair. How could he explain the complex tapestry of human intentions, the blurred lines between exploitation and preservation? He looked at the fractured landscape, the remnants of the outpost, the evidence of the cataclysm, and felt the burden of understanding. He knew, with a rising sense of urgency, that he had a long way to go before he could bridge this gap. This rescue was just the beginning of a much more difficult journey. The fragile bond forged in the heat of the eruption was as precarious as the shifting lava flows, teetering on the brink of shattering under the weight of history. He had to find a way to bridge the chasm of distrust, to show Zerati that humans weren't all the same, that some, like him, sought not to exploit, but to understand and protect. Chapter 5: The Shattered Landscape. The aftermath of the eruption was a landscape of despair and destruction. Buildings, once symbols of human ingenuity, now lay in twisted, smoking ruins. The air, thick with the smell of burning flesh and volcanic rock, tasted metallic and acrid. The once vibrant outpost, a testament to human colonization, was now a ghost town, its inhabitants scattered and injured, their lives forever altered. Eli, nursing a throbbing headache, helped carry Zerati towards the temporary shelters set up in the safer zone. She moved with a grim determination that belied the fragility of her condition. The events of the last few days, the searing heat, the near-death experience, had shaken them both to their cores. Zerati's initial hostility had given way to a quiet resilience, and Eli found himself observing her, trying to understand her world through the fractured lens of her words. "The seismic readings are off the charts," Dr. Aries, a human medic, announced, her voice strained over the crackling comm system. The eruption wasn't a singular event. It was a precursor. Eli felt a shiver of dread. This wasn't just about surviving the eruption, it was about facing a far larger threat. He remembered the faint tremors he felt earlier that day. His initial observation had been dismissed. "What do you mean by precursor?" Eli asked, his voice hoarse. "The ancient Xylan texts," Aries replied. They spoke of seismic energy trapped beneath the planet's crust, a dormant force, awakened by the volcanic activity. It could destroy the entire colony. Eli's mind raced. He scanned the hastily erected shelters, the injured, the desperate faces. He saw Zerati, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The ancient Xylan texts, the dormant force, this was far bigger than the human-Xylan conflict. This was about the survival of both species. "This isn't just about the volcano," Eli said, turning to Zerati. "This is about a bigger threat, one that could consume both our worlds." Zerati's gaze flickered. The silence stretched, pregnant with the weight of impending doom. Her initial mistrust, though still present, was now interwoven with a growing respect. She saw the sincerity in Eli's eyes, the depth of his concern. "The ancient texts warn of a cataclysmic release," Zerati said, her voice gaining a hint of authority. "An energy capable of shattering the very fabric of Xylos." Eli saw a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this shared threat could force a bridge between their species. Perhaps this could force understanding. Maybe, Eli thought, we have to work together. Maybe this was their chance to prove that compassion, ingenuity, and a willingness to overcome prejudice could save them both. Chapter 6: Forged in Fire. The Xylan language, a complex system of symbols and glyphs, was a puzzle to Eli. He'd spent countless hours poring over tattered, ancient texts unearthed from the ravaged outpost, hoping to find clues, a way to understand the threat, but the symbols remained enigmatic. Zerati, however, navigated the ancient texts with an ease that spoke of deep connection, a lineage that stretched back millennia. He watched as she traced the lines on a crumbling stone tablet, her fingers dancing over the intricate carvings, her eyes wide with intense concentration. The faint bioluminescent markings on her skin pulsed, a rhythm mirroring the beating of the planet itself. "The texts describe a cycle," she said, her voice resonating with a quiet authority, a sense of connection to the ancient power. "The volcano is only one part of a larger rhythm. The subterranean energy, awakened by the eruption, is seeking release, and its fury is escalating." Eli, despite his frustration with the cryptic language, began to understand. The eruption wasn't an isolated event, it was a prelude, a trigger for a far greater cataclysm. He felt a growing sense of urgency, a responsibility not only to his own people but to Zerati and her people. He needed to find a way to stop the encroaching threat. "How can we stop it?" Eli asked, his voice tight with anxiety. "The texts speak of a harmonic resonance," Zerati replied, her gaze piercing. "A counter-energy, a key within the heart of Xylos. But the key is protected by ancient power, and only by aligning the rhythms of the planet, the rhythm of fire, the rhythm of earth, can we harness it. Eli's mind raced. He envisioned the volcano, the tremors, the growing threat. This wasn't just about brute force or technological solutions. This required understanding the planet's own heartbeat. He turned to Dr. Aries, the medic. We need to find the ancient power source. The texts must hold a location, a place where the harmonic energy manifests. Dr. Aries, always the pragmatist, nodded. I can analyze the seismic data. We'll need a team. Someone fluent in the Xylan language. Zerati, of course, was perfect for that. Eli looked at the warrior, whose deep empathy for her home had become palpable. A shared look passed between them, a silent agreement that their fate, and the fate of Xylos, was now intertwined. The urgency of the situation pushed aside their differences, leaving only the shared goal of survival. They needed to work together to unravel the secrets of Xylos and find a way to restore balance before the planet's anger consumed them all. Chapter 7, Whispers of the Deep. Dr. Aries, her brow furrowed in concentration, meticulously analyzed the seismic data, tracing the patterns of the underground tremors with her fingers. The information, gleaned from the sensors scattered across the desolate landscape, showed a disturbing pattern, a concentrated energy source, deep beneath the volcanic caldera, growing in intensity. The initial eruption had been a trigger, unleashing a far greater force. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries formed a makeshift team. Their combined expertise, human engineering, Xylan law, and medical science, a powerful counterpoint to the impending chaos. Zerati, her eyes glowing faintly with an inner light, led them towards the heart of the volcano, following cryptic symbols etched into the ancient tablets. The air grew thick with the smell of sulfur and anticipation. The journey was perilous, molten rock occasionally surged from fissures in the earth, casting long shadows. Eli, his engineering mind working overtime, scanned the landscape for potential pathways, for weaknesses in the increasingly unstable ground. He remembered his previous experiences, his past failures. He had to succeed this time. He felt Zerati's strong presence, a testament to her resolve. Zerati, guiding them through a labyrinth of ancient tunnels and volcanic fissures, spoke of the heart of Xylos, a place within the planet's core where the harmonic resonance emanated. It's a place where the Earth's breath touches the sky, she explained, her voice imbued with a sense of reverence, a connection to something ancient and profound. The texts warn of the dire consequences if this energy is not rebalanced. The whispers of the ancient energy echoed through the tunnels, resonating with the subterranean hum of the planet. The tunnels themselves seemed to shift and groan as if the very rock was straining beneath their weight. They encountered strange, glowing minerals, bioluminescent crystals pulsing with a soft light, their energy mirroring that of the subterranean power source. Zerati identified them as a form of Xylan energy signature. She explained that these crystals were part of the harmonic resonance, the balance that had to be restored. A sense of awe and wonder grew alongside the tension. Dr. Aries, ever the pragmatist, tested the crystal's energy signature, seeking a way to tap into their power. She began to understand the complex energy signatures. This wasn't just about engineering or understanding ancient law, this was about understanding the planet itself. This was about finding harmony where chaos reigned. As they ventured deeper, the tremors intensified, the air grew hotter, and the whispers grew louder, filled with the chilling promise of a planet fighting for its own survival. The threat wasn't just to them, it was to the very existence of Xylos. The journey was fraught with danger, yet they pressed onward, their shared mission forging an unexpected bond. Their fate, and the fate of Xylos, hung in the balance. Chapter 8, The Heart of the Storm. The tunnels, once cool and damp, now radiated a suffocating heat. The air crackled with raw energy, the whispers of the subterranean tremors growing into a deafening roar. As they pressed deeper into the heart of the volcano, Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries found themselves navigating a landscape sculpted by millennia of volcanic activity. Jagged walls of solidified lava, sculpted by the Earth's ceaseless fury, rose around them. The air grew increasingly thick with the smell of sulfur and the feeling of imminent danger. Zerati, her eyes glowing with an eerie inner light, felt the ground tremble beneath her feet, a growing awareness of the raw power gathering beneath them. She guided them through a narrow passage, a subterranean river of molten rock flowing silently, its fiery glow reflected in the bioluminescent crystals that lined the tunnel walls. These crystals pulsed with a rhythm that mirrored the growing unrest within the planet. The rhythmic thrumming grew louder, closer, a tremor that vibrated not just through the ground but also through their very bones. They were approaching the heart of Xylos. Eli, his engineering mind whirring, calculated the stresses on the surrounding rock, the potential for collapse. Zerati explained the ancient traditions of her people of respecting this raw power. Suddenly, a deafening roar erupted, as if the very planet was crying out in pain. The ground trembled violently, and the air shimmered with a blinding light. They were enveloped in a wave of seismic energy, a surge of power that threatened to dislodge them from the very rock they stood on. Dr. Aries gasped, her expression a mixture of fear and awe. "This is it," Zerati said, her voice barely audible above the roar. "The energy source is amplified. We have to act fast." Eli, using his engineering knowledge, discovered a hidden chamber within the heart of the rock formation. The chamber glowed with an ethereal light, pulsating with the energy of Xylos itself. In the center, a colossal crystal pulsed with a dazzling radiance, its light resonating with the tremors outside. This was the harmonic resonance, the key to restoring balance. The energy surge seemed to reach its peak, forcing Zerati to guide them, almost pushing them towards the center of the chamber. She led them to a precise point, an alcove within the chamber. Within it lay a complex array of glyphs, the secrets of the ancient texts unveiled. The path to controlling this monstrous power was in front of them. This was not just a fight for survival, but a fight to understand and respect the planet itself. Chapter 9: The Dance of Resonance. The colossal crystal pulsed with a dazzling, otherworldly light, its energy resonating with the tremors outside. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries stood at the precipice of a profound challenge. They had reached the heart of Xylos, the epicenter of the planet's seismic fury, the source of the energy threatening to tear the planet apart. Zerati, her eyes reflecting the crystal's inner light, traced the intricate glyphs embedded within the alcove, her fingers brushing against ancient symbols that whispered of ancient rituals and cosmic harmonies. She spoke in a hushed tone, guiding them through the intricacies of the ritual. "The texts speak of a dance of resonance," she explained, her voice filled with reverence. "A delicate balance between the Earth's energy and the celestial forces. To control the subterranean power, we must echo its rhythm, align our actions with its cadence." Dr. Aries, ever the pragmatist, observed the intricate patterns with scientific curiosity. "The crystal's energy signature is incredibly complex," she said, analyzing the readings on her handheld device. "The texts hint at a specific frequency, a precise harmonic alignment, necessary to harness its power." Eli, his engineering mind racing, realized the challenge. This wasn't simply about activating a switch or pushing a button. This was about understanding the language of the planet, the symphony of its inner workings, the code of its existence. He began to see patterns, to recognize subtle shifts in the crystal's energy readings. It wasn't about stopping the energy, but about controlling it. It was about understanding the dance itself. Zerati continued her instruction, guiding their hands to specific glyphs, their touches subtly manipulating the energy field within the chamber. A precise sequence of movements began, each action echoing through the chamber, resonating with the deep rumbles of the earth. With each synchronized movement, the crystal's light intensified, and the tremors outside began to subside. The whispers of the planet seemed to quiet, replaced by a more harmonious hum. But the danger didn't abate. The energy surged again, more powerful than before. A sudden shift in the energy patterns made Eli realize the danger and his possible mistakes. The risk to themselves and to the planet seemed higher than ever. They had to do it right. Zerati sensed the change and pushed on, leading them to a new set of glyphs. They had to perform the ritual flawlessly. Their actions were the key to restoring balance, a delicate dance between the human and the alien. Their fate, and the fate of Xylos, now rested on the strength of their collective understanding. The storm was not over. It was only just beginning to shift, and only their actions could ensure that the shift would be towards salvation, not destruction. Chapter 10: The Weight of Echoes. The chamber hummed with a newfound, controlled energy, a symphony of light and vibration. The crystal, once a blinding beacon of raw power, now pulsed with a gentle, rhythmic glow. The tremors outside had lessened dramatically, the earth sighing in a slow, controlled exhale. But the danger hadn't vanished. The subtle shift in the crystal's energy hinted at a new, more insidious threat. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Ari stood in the heart of the chamber, their bodies trembling not from fear, but from the weight of the responsibility they carried. The ritual, once a dance of precision, had become a struggle against an unknown counterforce. Zerati, her brow furrowed in concentration, traced the next set of glyphs, a series of intertwined symbols that seemed to mirror the complex patterns of the crystal's energy signature. "The counterforce is reacting," she whispered, her voice tight with apprehension. "It senses our interference. It seeks to disrupt the balance." Eli, his engineering mind working furiously, recognized the pattern in the subtle shifts in the energy readings. It wasn't just a natural resistance, it was a conscious effort to thwart their attempts at control. He saw the counterforce wasn't merely passive, it was actively fighting them. Dr. Aries, her face pale with concern, noticed a new distortion in the energy signature. The counterforce isn't just resisting. It's trying to absorb the energy. It's feeding off our efforts. The realization struck them with a chilling force. The subterranean energy wasn't merely trapped, it was a living entity, aware of their presence and actively seeking to manipulate their actions. This was not just about fixing the planet, but also about surviving. Their delicate dance of resonance was under siege. Zerati understood this new element of the fight, a reality not explained in the texts. "We must adjust our rhythm." The texts only describe the balance from one perspective. The counterforce demands we consider its perspective as well. The fight had shifted. The fight was deeper, more profound than they had previously imagined. The crystal pulsed erratically, the rhythmic hum of the chamber distorted by a series of harsh, dissonant tones. The subterranean energy surged, threatening to overwhelm them, threatening to consume the entire planet. The fate of Xylos hung in the balance. The weight of their actions, the delicate dance of resonance, bore down on them with a crushing force. They were not simply restoring balance. They were battling for the very survival of the world. Their choices, their actions, were the very heartbeat of Xylos. Chapter 11: Echoes of the Past. The chamber pulsed with a chaotic energy, the crystal's light flickering erratically, mirroring the growing turmoil within the planet. The dissonant tones echoed through the chamber, creating a cacophony that threatened to shatter their concentration. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries found themselves battling not just the subterranean energy, but also the echoes of their own past mistakes, their own fears, and the deeply entrenched prejudices of their respective cultures. Zerati, sensing the shift in the energy, traced the glyphs with a renewed intensity. "The counterforce isn't just reacting to our actions," she said, her voice strained. "It's feeding on our fears, our misunderstandings. It's pulling from the echoes of our past." She felt a sudden connection to the past, the whispers of conflicts between the human and Xylan people. The weight of history, stars, the rhythms of the earth, the silent language of the heart. Her wisdom permeated the community, nurturing a generation that understood and celebrated their shared heritage. Dr. Aries, with her unwavering dedication to diplomacy, built bridges between the various factions within the community, smoothing out any lingering tensions and ensuring that every voice was heard. She worked tirelessly to establish a foundation for future generations, a foundation built on respect, understanding, and shared responsibility. Her scientific approach combined with her compassionate heart helped in fostering the new era of harmony. The children, raised in this environment of acceptance and understanding, grew into a generation that embraced their differences, recognizing them as strengths. They learned from their elders, both human and Xylan, cultivating empathy and compassion as vital skills for survival and coexistence. Their laughter, echoing through the valleys and across the plains, was a constant testament to the enduring power of their community. As the years unfolded, Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries continued their work, their efforts woven into the fabric of the community. They had transformed Xylos, but their influence extended far beyond the volcanic plains. The echoes of their journey, the whispers of unity, reached other galaxies, inspiring others to embrace their own differences and find harmony within their own communities. Their legacy was etched not in stone, but in the hearts of a generation, a legacy of light that would illuminate the universe for years to come. Their work on Xylos had become a beacon of hope for a harmonious universe, a future where empathy, compassion, and understanding were not just ideals, but the bedrock of existence. Chapter 25, A Universe of Whispers. Years had passed since the cosmic translator had brought a symphony of unity to the cosmos. Xylos, once scarred by conflict, now bloomed as a vibrant testament to understanding, its people thriving in a harmonious blend of human and Xylan cultures. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries, their work on Xylos complete, found themselves drawn to the whispers of the cosmos again, not through the translator, but through a different, more subtle form of communication. The universe, in its vastness, had begun to speak to them in a language beyond words. The stars themselves seemed to whisper tales, their light carrying echoes of shared experiences, echoes of unity. Eli, Zerati, and Dr. Aries, now seasoned travelers and teachers, understood that the universe wasn't just a collection of celestial bodies, it was a living, breathing entity, a symphony of interconnected experiences. They journeyed to a new star system, a system teeming with a unique array of planets, each holding its own distinct energy signature. Through their deep connection with the universe, they realized that the universe's voice wasn't just about shared feelings or experiences. It spoke to them through the very structure of the cosmos, the alignment of celestial bodies, the intricate dance of nebulae, all telling stories of interconnectedness. The lessons of the Xylan civilization, the struggles and triumphs of other galaxies, became more than just historical accounts. They became universal principles, guiding their understanding of the universe's intricate dance. They recognized that their understanding of the universe was not static, but ever-evolving, mirroring the universe's own infinite growth and transformation. It was in this new understanding that they truly realized their legacy wasn't just about bringing harmony to Xylos, but about empowering a universal understanding and harmony. They had healed Xylos, but they had also healed a part of the universe. The echoing echoes of the cosmic translator now resonated within their very souls, prompting them to become guardians of this understanding, inspiring others to embark on their own quests of discovery. Their work on Xylos, while monumental, had paved the way for an even grander endeavor. The universe had whispered its thanks. They were now custodians of the universe's whispers, ready to share their knowledge and wisdom with those who were ready to listen, spreading the seeds of unity across the cosmos, one star system at a time. The universe, once a symphony of discord, now echoed with the harmonious whispers of understanding, and they were the keepers of the harmony.